What up, reader fam? Today I am bringing you the start of a new series on my channel called Books I've Read Recently. I know, the most original, mind-blowing title of all the titles in the world. Bet you can't guess what it's gonna be about. So if you guys couldn't tell, this year I have not done any wrap-up videos on my channel. Leading up into this year, I used to make a monthly wrap-up kind of telling you guys the books that I've read and my thoughts on them. But in the year of 2016, I just got so tired of making them because it honestly just made me feel like my year was going by so quickly doing that monthly video. And I know that that's a weird reason, but it's the truth. I also just felt a lot of pressure making wrap-up videos because I felt like I had to read a certain amount of books within that month, and I didn't like that. I put a lot of pressure on myself to try and read faster, and I really didn't like that pressure. But I've been reading so much more recently, and I don't know if it's because I've cut out wrap-ups from my life, but a lot of these books are ones that I couldn't do just like standalone video book reviews on because I don't have that much to say about them. So it's a pretty self-explanatory series. It's pretty similar to a wrap-up. I'm just gonna be talking about 5 to 6 books that I've read recently. If I do a standalone video for a book review, that book that I do that review on will not be included in this video, if that makes any sense at all. I'm sure you guys don't care at all. So yeah, that's what this series is all about, and I'm super excited about it. I really want to get back into the heart of BookTube and the heart of this channel, and that is just talking about books. I love making my fun bookish videos, but I also want to talk about books. That's why I started this channel. So I'm going to be trying to push myself to do a book review of some sort every Sunday. So every Sunday you can expect some kind of review video from me on my channel. So anyways, let's get started. Let's talk about some of the books that I've read recently. The first book I have here is Sleeping Giants, and I believe this is a first in a trilogy, question mark, I'm not 100% sure. The story kicks off with this girl named Rose, and she's riding her bike, having a good time, having no care in the world. She's pedaling, braking, going faster than she probably should, and then out of nowhere she falls into this hole. And she's like, what the holy hole is going on here? When the people that rescue her come to her aid, they realize that it's more than just a hole in the earth, and that she's actually just chilling in this gigantic hand that's like glowing neon. Plot twist, it's the hand on the inside cover here. Ooh. That's kind of what kicks off this story. But then we bounce forward like 17 years and we're still following Rose. She has now dedicated her life to attempt to figure out all the mysteries behind this giant hand. Throughout this story, we have this really interesting narrator. He's basically this anonymous interrogator, and the story just follows his interviews with everybody who is working on this case revolving around this hand. So the story plays out through these interview sessions, and we also get some journal entries here and there from the cast of characters. I really liked the format for the most part. It really did keep the story moving at a really nice, fast pace. But at the same time, it brought forth some faulty McFaultness, I felt. Because of this format, we get a lot of telling instead of showing. And so I kind of would have liked to have been more in the action instead of just being told the things that were happening. There were also times in this book where I just felt like the information that was being provided to me was just way over my head. And I was like looking above my head being like, how do I get that information in my head and have it make sense? The story kind of also lacked strength when it came to the plot. I just wanted more from it. It's like having a sundae and not getting that cherry on the top. Like, give me that cherry. I just wanted a little more. That's all I wanted, a little more, just that cherry. But on the flip side of things, I know that I've been talking negatively about this book. I just want to say that I really enjoyed this book, by the way. But the characters, man, the characters. They're the type of characters that are unlikable, but that's why I liked them. I like that they weren't perfect. I get tired of reading the cookie cutter characters, so it was nice to have some characters that just don't fit that perfect mold. But seriously, some of the characters will be presented to you and you're like, oh, this character is the stereotype of this. And then you just keep reading and you're like, holy crap, wasn't expecting that. Also, there were definitely moments throughout the story where it feels like you're receiving a gift. And then you open it and a bomb explodes in your face. And you're like, oh, okay, wasn't expecting that in this beautiful gift. All in all, I would give this one a 3.5 stars. I enjoyed it, but it didn't necessarily reach the mega hardcore fist pump in the air kind of love for me. You feel? Next up, I read something completely different from Sleeping Giants, and that is Frazzled, Everyday Disasters and Impending Doom. I actually know the author of this book, so that's kind of why I wanted to read this book, but this story follows a girl named Abby Wu, and she is going into middle school, and it's just her trying to find her place amongst the chaos of everything that's changing around her. I would say this is in the same vein as Diary of a Wimpy Kid. I've never read that series, but I've flipped throughout it, and I've seen all the illustrations inside of it, and this one also has illustrations throughout it. And I feel like this this book kind of read a lot younger than middle school, which I guess makes sense because this is about a girl who's going into middle school, so I would suggest this book for like younger kids. I worked in a school for a while and I just don't feel like middle schoolers would enjoy this one, so I would probably say this is for kids younger than middle school. The integration of pictures throughout the story was just perfection. Just the way the images worked with the story worked so well. It just really kept the story flowing in such a great way. I feel like personally, all this book did for me was entertain. Like, I just had a fun time reading it, but like also I'm not like 7, 8, or 9, and I feel like 7, 8, and 9-year-olds would die hard love this book. And I can see a lot of kids who are nervous about going into middle school reading this book and just like having all their nerves washed away, because if Abby Wu can survive middle school, then they can survive middle school. It really provides the message of how we don't all have this life thing figured out. We're all still figuring things out. It's all about putting your mind to something, setting a goal, doing your best to achieve that goal, recognizing that there will be obstacles along the way, but you can do it if you just keep fighting. I would give this one a 4 out of 5 stars because I really enjoyed it. Then I read Summerland by Michael CHABON. I picked this one up before I went on vacation because I thought it might be a good vacation read. What really made me want to read this book though was the idea of these two completely different concepts coming together and just seeing how they worked together. Those two concepts being fairies and baseball. That's all I knew going into the story. The story is obviously a lot more than that though. We have this boy named Ethan and he is terrible at baseball and he really wants to quit, but then we have this werefox who comes in and he intervenes and he drags Ethan to this alternate world, and this is where Ethan basically finds out that he is the chosen one and he must save the world from disaster. I personally was unfortunately really disappointed with this one. I really wanted to like it, but I think I just went into this one with different expectations as to how everything was going to go down. I didn't realize that this is basically a middle grade story, and I think that that's what just threw me off completely. I went into this thinking that it was an adult book, because I guess when I think Michael CHABON, I just automatically think adult books, but this really isn't an adult book at all. I did like the flowery, poetic writing style, like I was here for that. Some might call it over the top, but I call it beautiful. But unfortunately, this is one of those books where just everything else in the story just fell completely flat for me. Sure, the writing was good, but I didn't care about the characters, and I didn't care about the plot. I would probably still give this book a solid 3 out of 5 stars, because I think a lot of my distaste for this book came with being misled as to what this book was actually all about. Next, I read the graphic novel This One Summer. I just randomly picked this one up and jumped right into it, kind of like how they're jumping into the water here on the cover. This is me jumping into the book. This story is about a girl named Rose. Her and her family go to this lake house every summer, and Rose spends her time with her friend Wendy. And this summer is full of drama and secrets, and these two right here are just all about getting to the bottom of all the secrets. The two become very curious about a relationship that's developing between a convenience store clerk and this girl that they know nothing about. I loved the artwork, I loved the style, I loved how it's all one tone colored. At times I feel like that can be very limiting, but I feel like it worked really well here. I feel like the story itself really did a good job of capturing that feeling of growing up. I love how it showcased how different things that we see growing up can affect us in the long run. It brought forth a lot of really interesting topics, but with that, I feel like we also didn't dive deep enough into those topics. But on the other hand, like I feel like this story wasn't trying to achieve that. I don't think it was trying to achieve bringing these topics to the front line and exploring them necessarily, because this is a very like slice of life story. We only see a portion of Rose's life. We see just this one summer. I will say that also the story just felt really choppy to me at times. Chop, chop, chop. And I really wish the story altogether would have just like flowed better. All in all, I would give this one a 3 stars. Then I read The House on Mango Street, and this is a collection of vignettes following a Latina girl growing up in Chicago. We follow different encounters she has and different things she faces growing up, the relationships in her life, and just ultimately her growth. I know that this isn't going to be a book that everyone reads and loves, but there was just something to this one that just completely grabbed onto my heart and made me feel something. Now, I can't say that it's necessarily added to like my all-time favorite books list, but it's definitely one that I love, and I can definitely see myself rereading this one time and time again. It's incredibly beautifully written, and there were just so many moments throughout the story that just moved me. Some of my favorite vignettes were Sally, the monkey garden. High-key loved the monkey garden. Oh my Lanta Santa, it was great. And finally, the Three Sisters. That was also a great one. I would give this one like a 4.5 out of 5 stars. It was fantastic. The last book that I'm going to be talking about today is Lost at Sea by Bryan Lee O'Malley. I've read a book by Bryan Lee O'Malley in the past. I've read Seconds and I loved Seconds so much, and I know that I need to pick up Scott Pilgrim's. It's on my list. I'll get to it at some point in my lifetime, but I adored Seconds so much. I consider it to be one of my all-time favorite graphic novels, so I kind of had high expectations going into Lost at Sea, and I was really disappointed, which makes me sad because I wanted to love it, but I just didn't love it. This story is about a girl named Rayleigh who finds herself on this road trip with these students that she doesn't know very well from her school, and she feels as though she has lost her soul, and she's on this journey to find it. There was one point in this story where I was like, oh, that was a really powerful piece of writing. And I was like, why couldn't this whole book be like that one powerful piece of writing? And I know that my enjoyment of this one was probably just infected by the expectations I went into it with, but I really couldn't help that because I just loved Seconds so much that going into this one I was like, ooh, expectations are high. And unfortunately those expectations were not met at all. And I did understand what Bryan Lee O'Malley was trying to accomplish with this story. And I know that this is also a very slice of life story similar to this one, Summer, but I felt like we needed to delve deeper into the characters, and I felt like we needed more story to really hit a home run with this one. So I would give this one like a 2.5 out of 5 stars. I hate that I didn't like it. I really hate that I didn't like it. I wanted to like it. So those are some of the books that I have read recently. You guys should let me know down below in the comments if you have read any of these books and what you thought of them. Also let me know down below some of the books that you have read recently. If you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. I post videos frequently on this channel, so if you want to be notified as to when I post new videos, be sure and go and hit subscribe, or go and click the little bell icon and you'll be notified as to when I post new videos. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye, chew.